On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, Mike, Bennett, Sebastian sit down with Mr. Josh Holley. He is a fellow Marine and the founder of the Tripoli Group, which provides finance and accounting support to high-growth startups. Josh was an enlisted Marine from 2002 to 2006, where he served as a 3043 Supply Operations Clerk. The best, most hated MOS in the Corps. Good caveat there, brother. Marine is
I'm here for you.
Now,
roll with that.
The 22nd and 26 MEUs attached to MSSG, spending 7 months in Afghanistan, 6 months in Kuwait. 6 months in Kuwait. Fuck, man. Grab your poncho liner.
Jeez.
After the contract was up, Josh attended the University of Tennessee, where he obtained his bachelor's degree in business administration. He then attended Vanderbilt University and obtained his Masters of Accountancy. Really? That's a thing? Accountancy? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Accountancy.
I am an accountancy expert.
Just
I have received...
Hold on, I'm not done, you fucks.
All right,
God
go.
Damn, gotta beat him down with a stick. Just spent 4 years as a consultant at the Big Four accounting firm EY, or Ernst & Young, if you knaves don't know, working on tech for IPOs and merger and acquisitions. Additionally, he started Ernst & Young's Veteran Entrepreneur Academy to provide support to veteran entrepreneurs who are beginning to scale up operations or accelerate their overall business. That is awesome. So, Josh, welcome, bro. Semper Fi.
Hoorah. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Yeah.
Now that we're about 10 minutes into it.
Right. So you used to roll deep in Knoxville, huh?
Yeah. I spent a little over 3 years there. My brother's actually still there. He married he came to Tennessee. My brother's about 3 years younger than me since I gave him a little bit of head start by enlisting in the Marine Corps, we were actually in college together
That's awesome.
at Tennessee. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, man. Knoxville's a pretty good party town. Been there a few times. Rocked it out. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a blast. It was good, especially like game day. A good time. The stadium holds about 107,000 people.
Yeah,
No, that's
a
what,
blast.
soccer? Field hockey? What are we talking about?
football.
The football. Yeah,
This is the football.
yeah. Good old SEC football. So,
Right on, man.
yeah. I know you're from the Michigan area. You're not a Michigan fan, are you, Michael?
I am. Like, let's say, for instance,
He only likes hockey.
yeah, if you're talking about college sports from Michigan, yes, I am a U of M fan above anything else. Yep.
Gotcha. That's
The
unfortunate.
University of Michigan. Why is
Yeah.
that?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Michigan, they're an okay school, but I bleed, Southeastern Conference, right? So went to Tennessee, went to Vanderbilt, originally from Alabama, so my blood flows crimson.
Right.
So I'm just used to winning national championships these days.
Right. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Damn.
Just when Donald Trump talks about that, you'll be tired of being a winner. I'm like, yeah, I'm used to that, Donald. I got it.
See,
Donnie, you rich motherfucker.
I'm a basketball fan, not so much a football. It's because I'm from the Northeast, and
Yeah.
pretty much all of our football teams suck.
Yeah.
And
So, yeah, so I'm more of a basketball guy. But
I'm just going to say this.
and-
I'm going to say it.
go ahead.
Those
Well,
aren't
you have to
sports.
pitch
They're
a jump
games.
shot.
They're not sports. Football, yeah-ish. But
See,
Who-
Justin's a hockey guy too.
who skates at 40 miles an hour and smashes into each other? Nobody. You're not going to get the physicality in anything
Well,
else.
I
it
don't know
is-
about
it
a
is a
frozen
fun sport.
surface with knives strapped to her feet, people.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
is fun.
Well, when I was at Vanderbilt in Nashville, they have the Predators. They
Yes.
used to,
Yeah.
which is really funny because Southeast hockey hasn't done well traditionally, but Nashville just ate that up. They were all about it.
Right.
It helped that the Predators won a couple games, but that was fun. So they do college nights, like $10 to get in the upper decks. But I don't know the rules. I don't know what's going on. I just want to see people fight each other.
Exactly.
And if they do that more often, I'm all about hockey.
So you gotta go semi-pro. You can't go pro if you're looking for a fist fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, depending. If it's the playoffs and they're playing hard,
Hard.
you know, like, yeah.
Otherwise,
well,
you
that's
gotta roll up
Red
into an
Wings and the
AHL.
Avalanche or something.
You gotta roll up into an AHL hockey rink, and
There
then
it
you'll
is.
see some fight.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. But I feel that same way about, I love, college football. I really love, but pro sports, and, I actually interned at the NFL when I was in college, and so I probably shouldn't say this, but like pro sports, just, there's no love of it, like it's, the heart's not there. But also in college sports and then like the semi-pro kind of stuff, you can see some stupid stuff. And that's a ton of fun. Like,
Right.
and the pros, like, it's just not, like, I'm getting a paycheck. I got to do this however many more times.
It's like a real job to them. So,
Yeah.
it's not, it's some of the pureness of it's taken away.
Exactly.
Some of the emotion. So, yeah.
But that's what. So I lived in New York for 4 years after I got out of Vandy, and we used to go to the Staten Island Yankees baseball games, which is the Yankees single A short season team.
Farm team.
Short season, only 8,500 games per.
Exactly. These guys were
all played at
horrible.
night.
They were so horrible. It was a blast. But
It's
like the
watching
first
high school.
Yeah, like the first game I ever went, like everyone stole second base. It got to the point that third base coach wasn't even signaling anymore. He's just like, hey, next pitch, start running. Like everybody's stealing second base. So that was, I love stuff like that. So to your point of going to a minor league hockey game, that would be more my speed, I think.
Yes. It's not even that it is the minors. It's just that people care more when they're not making money off of it. When they're making money, suddenly there's this. I mean, the great ones they're always there because they give a fuck, not because they're making money, and then they end up living the dream, so to speak. The average ass individuals, they're just there. They're just there. They're like, oh, well, I make money off of this, and I got into the pros, and I'm too scared now because I have this figure behind my contract, so I will not go out of my way to be a badass.
So when I got out of boot camp at Paris Island, and I graduated December 20th, so right before Christmas. Got recruiting duty for 10 days, so I got to walk around the mall in my chucks or whatever.
Yut!
And it was so much fun. But the best part that came out of that was just total douchebag move. I'm in Radio Shack. That's how long ago I was in. Radio Shack was still open. I'm looking at cell phones with my little brother, and this guy comes in. Like I'm wearing my uniform, just came off recruiting duty for the day. This guy comes up. He's like, "Oh, you're in the Marine Corps." And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I'm in the Army Reserves." And I was like, "Oh, my brother plays basketball in high school."
That's awesome.
You fucking douche.
That's what. Yeah, I reached peak douchebaggery
Basically.
with like my national defense ribbon and nothing on my sleeve.
Right. And went rolling right at it.
Yeah, like I'm
awesome.
Did you have a hot dog at lunch?
It's you basically. See, you're a Southern guy,
Yeah.
so you basically walked up. It's like the manly version of "Bless your heart."
yeah.
That's what you did to that guy.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, bless your heart.
I'm in the Army Reserve. Bless your heart.
I'm sure your mother's proud. Yeah, bless your heart is definitely the most underrated.
Oh man, it's the most biggest fu you ever hear in your life.
You
hear it like,
can bless the heart
shit.
of anybody that has testicles, and they will literally be angry.
Well, the best is, like I said, when I was in New York, because New Yorkers didn't know it was an insult. So you could say it to like a managing partner, didn't matter. You're like, "Oh, bless your heart." And they'd be like, "Those senators are weird." And I bet, like you said, just gave you like an FU.
In your office, if you heard you say that, I knew you can get away in the New York Minute setting.
Yeah, you can just do that.
How long were you in New York?
So just over 4 years.
And where did you live in New York?
So the first 2 years I was in the financial district, and then the second to Upper West Side.
Okay, so straight up Manhattan.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was.
I bet that was fun.
It was a blast. The only reason we left is we got the kid, and we kind of proed and conned, like, should we stay in Manhattan? Should we move back south? And then you get to the money, and you're like, but this isn't a discussion. Like, this is stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
And Manhattan's so much fun, but it's stupid money. It's just ridiculous.
It is stupid money. Unless you like fall into something that's just like incredible. Like, I have friends that sublet from another friend of mine, and it's the rate controlled rent on the condo complex I guess it's technically a condo, but it's a high rise condo complex down on, I want to say it's like 18th and 1st. Yeah. Anyway, regardless, they're literally paying like $1,300 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment, but for Manhattan standards, it's freaking incredible.
Oh yeah, no. When you said that, I was just like, "Wow, I'd move back for $1,300 a month."
Yeah,
like
and the rent hasn't gone up in 12 years or something like that. So they're like, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I loved it out there. It's being back in Raleigh. So I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina now, and love it down here. It's a great change of pace, and people always ask like, would you miss it? Which is better? And you just can't compare. New York is its own little thing.
Can't.
Right, of course.
I never lived in the city, but I grew up in Connecticut.
Okay.
So I used to go into the city quite a bit, and then right after I got out of the Marine Corps, I lived out on Long Beach, actually.
Nice.
But I worked in Carl Place.
I don't know Carl Place.
All right, so it's right. Oh God, what's the name of that town? It's like Westbury. It's right off the Merritt Parkway. It's like right.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like right off there. It's just one of those little, everything kind of melds together right there. So you got like 14,
I knew Long Beach.
So
because we would ride the train out to Long Beach sometimes in the summer. Like the MTA did that little deal. It's like $10 for a ticket plus a guy your thing, which was nice. Except for in North Carolina you can take beer out of the beach. You can't in New York. So you're just like, what am I supposed to do here all day? Just watch the water? Like, that's weird. It was fun. It was just, and it was after 4 years. It was probably enough too. But it's a good city. If anyone is like on the fence about should I live in New York, should I not? You got to do it once, punch your ticket, experience it, and then get the hell out and go back to the real world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife and I used to visit a decent amount, so we kind of got our fill like that. So it was fun.
No, that's the best way to do it too. I have a friend who's like, I'm thinking about moving there. I just love it every time I visit. I was like, look, going to stay in a hotel and seeing a show is a totally different lifestyle.
Totally different than living there.
Yeah. But it was good, and it was a good, like I said, it was a good experience, and kind of really introduced me to a huge network of folks. Like the Veteran Entrepreneur Academy thing we did. I probably couldn't have pulled that off anywhere else but New York. Because it's just like a young guy trying to do something, but when it said New York on my signature line, people kind of like, oh, maybe this is a thing. And if nothing else, they were like, well, go to New York for the weekend, see what's going on there.
Right, definitely. Yeah. Cool. So it was you and the wife?
Yeah. So I've been I got married right before I got out of the Marine Corps. I got out September of 2006, so coming up on 10 years that I've been out. I got married in June 24th, got married. So coming up on 10-year anniversary. So I drug her around. She saw that sweet Lance Corporal pay and that Saturn I was driving, and was like,
Saturn
money bags.
Yeah, rolling out at a hefty like $1,900 a month.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I took her to Applebee's for our first date in Jacksonville.
Oh,
like
fuck
she
yes.
knew. She knew she was married into
my
money.
wife and I went on our first date to Olive Garden.
Oh, classy. Yeah, I see you couldn't afford Olive Garden. That's upscale.
Actually, she ended up paying because I was really that poor. So it was pretty bad. I was collecting cans for gas money to like go see her.
Oh man. Yeah, that's Were you in at the time, or?
That's a
Yeah,
solid
I was
first
in
impression.
Yeah, I was in the army at that time. It is what it is, Jocelyn.
I'm just kidding. Army
so
dogs
anyway-
are army dogs.
Anyway,
They're just as
Joshua,
badass
tell
as
us
we
about
are.
This from the shores of Tripoli Group.
Oh, that's my my weekly newsletter. Just kind of my musing. So the Tripoli Group is the company I started. Obviously the Marines kind of get the
Fantastic name, just
the name. Yeah, but when you start a practice like this, finance and accounting practice, people usually name it after themselves, and it's like I don't really want to do that. So what do you call it? One of my first clients was a Marine, and he was like, everybody's got initials. You should just call it YUT. Let it be Yut. I was like, I don't want to go that far. That's a little too moto. Yeah, so Tripoli Group. And then, we did this class in Bunker Labs a couple weeks ago. So I'm in the cohort here in Raleigh with Mike and Jocelyn, the guys, and about digital marketing and social media marketing. And going into the class, I was like, I'm doing so good at this for someone who's doing finance and accounting stuff. And then I went to class. I was like, I suck at this. Like, I'm not doing any of these things.
Right.
But yeah, I tried writing some blog posts, and I think I got one on the website before. I was like, I can't do that. But I spend all week like reading articles about leadership, about management, different things like that. So I just pull out 2 or 3 that I think people will find interesting.
I get them, so I read them. Just so you know.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you going through it.
Because technically I'm in the cohort too, but I am a non-participating member of the cohort. But
Gotcha.
So I follow you guys closely because I get all the emails. But yeah.
Well, it's the same. Yeah, it's like anybody else who has partners who just can't make it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I think it's everybody in the room has that. Christ.
I am that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have no car. I have nothing. Sorry, just kidding. Audience, don't listen to that. I am doing well. Shit's good. We're fucking cooking with olive oil and beans right now. Shit is good.
Have you guys ever thought about doing an intervention show for Jocelyn? Just like
Is it that bad, Josh? Come on. Intervention.
We're here to help you, buddy.
Hey, he's going downhill fast. Woo!
It'd be awesome. Like, hey, who's the guest today? It's you, buddy. It's you. We need to talk about some things.
We need to talk about some shit.
We're gonna trust that you hit the little red button and are going to edit this show.
Dude, this is in. This is staying in. Don't even worry about that shit. This is fucking happening.
That's what I'm saying. On the intervention, we're gonna be like, okay, now Justin, here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Right, you're fucking up. But listen, when we're done, dragging your ass through the mud. There's gonna be no reading a fucking letter or anything, moron. Right? You gotta edit it when we're done. Still, I mean,
I will make sure that no one says while taking me down.
That's awesome.
There's still a mission. Still a mission. The show must go on. I like it.
Meaning it exists for some, not for others.
All right, Josh. So we need to hear a sea story. I know you got.
Yeah, I mean, being in the best, most hated MOS in the Marine Corps, there's a few floating around out there.
S1?
No, for S1. People hate them too. I was talking to a corpsman one day, and he was like, "Everybody hates us until they need us." I was like, first off, no one hates a corpsman unless he's a shitty corpsman. So you need to rethink your life choices. I was like, secondly, like everyone hates supply, and they need supply every day. So get in line for most hated. But no, it was a fun job, and I just embraced the suck. I was like, I'm nobody's hero, but I've got access to the MREs and bottles of water. So
right, you were never going hungry, and you always had the best choice of MREs. So
yeah, exactly. Which is probably the best sea stories. When I was in Afghanistan, I floated with the MEU. We flew into Qatar and then, got off the boat in Qatar, flew into Kandahar,
been there,
and pushed forward out to Tarin Kowt and built Bob Ripley up there, and then just kind of hung out in the desert for a while. But we've been sitting out there for maybe like 3 or 4 months, and this 20-foot ISO container shows up, and all the containers come to the supply area first, and then we figure out where they're supposed to go. We pop the lock on this thing, open it up. It is stacked full of Girl Scout cookies. No mention of where they should go or where they came from. I mean, I should be the president of Afghanistan right now. I could have bought anything I wanted to that, but like we were just in hog heaven.
Right.
Like just this 20-foot container. So like we would walk up, and the Army came up a few months after we got there. The Army came up, and like this is again a great story for the Army. We've been eating MREs for like 3 months out at Bob Ripley. Army shows up on July 3rd. On the 4th of July, we ate steak and crab legs out on this fob that the Army cooked for us.
Hell yes.
Like that's so
Hell
yeah.
Fucking A, man.
That's why we should give shit to the Army.
Right. So here's the thing. It's like I went back to the Marine Corps recruiter, and they basically shit all over me. So I was like, all right, there, Sergeant, I'm going to walk right across the hallway. And he was like, all right, have fun with that. I was like, okay, like some kind of loyalty. Like, oh, no, man, come on, let's see what we can do. It was, nope. No. Go right ahead, man. Nope. So I went over to steak and crab legs land.
Nice.
Okay? So you can be jealous all you want. But so I have to say, like, when we were in Egypt, it was like that too. Like we literally got to order whatever we want, food wise. It was amazing.
Oh, dude!
I never had anything like that when I was, except for when I was doing missions where we stayed, where we billeted on Air Force bases when I was in the Marines.
Oh yeah.
So we were doing drug interdiction stuff. We always billeted on Air Force bases, and that was some good chow. But I never really complained much about the chow in the Army. I always did about the chow in the Marine Corps, but it's just one of those things.
Well, in the Marine Corps, you don't even realize there's like more than limit that shit.
That's because the supply guys grab all the good ones and just give
That's
you the
That's what I'm talking about, because they use them to.
Dude, Sloppy Joes are the freaking unicorn of MREs.
That's right. The unicorn.
Sorry.
It's because Josh had them all.
Yeah, it's because we had all the Sloppy Joes back in supply.
Appreciate
it. Yeah. I was more of a turkey.
Oh, there it is. Chicken tetrazzini. It's like, what the fuck is tetrazzini? Why is this so long of a name? No one, just chicken in a bag of shit. So
all right, so we're gonna go around the room here. You ready? First MRE you ever had.
Oh fuck!
Everybody remembers that. Come on, Michael Penny, go.
Yeah, beef patty.
Josh.
Beef patty.
It might have been the tetrazzini. Maybe that's why it has a special place in my heart.
Sebastian.
It literally was tetrazzini. Anyways, go ahead.
Now see, my first one, because I'm a little old school, Josh. So this was 1992, right? And omelet with ham.
Oh snap!
Ooh.
It was horrible. I was like, I never wanted. See, this was back in the day though, when like the best MRE was like tuna with noodles. You know what I'm saying?
God.
It was bad. So those MREs were bad, and I just remember them getting so much better. But oh my God, they were
the best.
I would say whatever bad you had it. We took a guy with us to Afghanistan who's vegetarian. There are 2 MREs that are vegetarian. Now, in his defense, it was a religious choice, not like he wasn't a hipster or anything.
Gotcha.
He was Hindu.
So he's even crazier. I got you.
Yeah. He had a good reason. It wasn't just like he's like, oh, I'm vegetarian.
So at least he can be like, I'm Hindu. So,
but yeah, so
basically I believe that I will go to hell if I eat meat, because it's just what happens.
You know what that started
not
out
exactly
of,
hell for them.
You're eating the farm equipment back in the day, dude. You can't eat all of the beef because they're farm equipment. So you make them sacred, and then nobody eats the farm equipment, and then you can harvest all the veggies you want.
There you go.
Dude, I'm some asshole out in the woods in North Carolina bullshitting into a tape recorder right now, and I came up with that. Like, I don't need to be some mystic freaking 1,200 years ago on the other side of the planet, you know what I'm saying? Oh. I get confused. I'm wearing silkies, but I have no idea where I'm at right now. Somebody, have you seen my rifle? I got it. All right, we're good.
Is it? Have you seen there's a company like called Silkies or something that makes funny T-shirts and stuff about the military. Have you guys seen that? They've got one that I think it's either them or Patriotic as fuck that have a T-shirt. It's like olive drab and says "World's Okayest Marine."
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I don't know which one that is. You're right. It's a great T-shirt.
Like I love that T-shirt.
World's okayest Marine.
World's okay. That's what I always tell people. When I came out of the Marine Corps, I was like, yeah, I was a good Marine. I was doing okay. And then I meet people and I'm like, yeah, I was just okay. Like there's other Marines who did a lot more than I did. I just kept my head down. Like I should get a World's Okayest Marine T-shirt. So, for that exact reason.
I think the world's okayest Marine is the guy who's like, this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like the guy who keeps his head down. No, that guy's good. That's the guy I want. I'm gonna remember that motherfucker forever. You're circling back for, and you're like, when we get to the top, I'm going to shove you down the side of this fucking hill. I want you to know that. Like, your fat ass is going to tumble all the way down this thing. He's the world's okayest Marine. You know what I mean? That guy.
That's like when I was...
What?
Right before I went to boot camp, the recruiter pulled me aside and was like, Holly, I just want you to know one thing. He's like, wallflowers graduate the same as everyone else. He was like, be a wallflower. So I was like, I can do that. Like that's
solid information.
Yeah.
His brain is fantastical. It's like 3 lids deep right now. Be a wallflower. You're the guy. Oh, dude, I've shared this story before, but we had a kid in the Gong Show who stands up, and he's at parade rest in shower shoes, silky, skivvy shirt tucked in, the whole nine. And he's like, this recruit requests knowledge, and the drill instructor's like, you're good, man. We're done with that stuff. And he's like, these recruits can't be IT'd. And he's like, you don't need to, you're good, whatever. And he looks at the senior drill instructor and goes, and then like over at the drill hat, and he looks back over at senior DI and over at the kill hat, and he's like, I have never been IT'd. And my drill instructor freaked out. Like he lifted all 3, like Foot Locker podium and threw it across the squad, right? It was epic, dude. It was a solid freak out. Just a solo. And like broke the shit out of the Foot Lockers. Like, and the senior drill instructor is just like laughing at him. It was awesome. It was awesome. Still serving favela.
The guy just like he just needed that story when he went home talking about being in the sand pit or something. Like what the? I to this day I still remember we came back from the swim training. And they were like, Holly, your Foot Locker was unlocked. And I was like, bullshit. In my mind, of course I didn't say it out loud. In my mind, I was like, bullshit. I know that locker was locked. I always lock it. But it was, we're in phase 2. And I'd been a wallflower. I had been IT'd or sent out. And the whole time I'm doing push-ups like I was, you mother. Like, I know that you guys set me up. Thanks a lot. Like, I had to give you the code to my Foot Locker on day 1. I know you unlocked my Foot Locker. I was so pissed. So, like that, I would have been fine to go through without being IT. That would have been cool with me.
Tightening rags. You're right. Like, everybody knows who that guy is. Like, you're your head is outboard, you're under the rack, and you're on the half that's like away from the quarter deck, you know, and you're just tucking for like 20 minutes, and then you slide somehow, but your back never gets. It's very weird how this kid moves about the platoon. He's like the Pink Panther.
I was always just like, I'm doing my thing. Like, I'm getting through. I'm getting my AG a day. Like, I don't need to be a guide. You guys go do that. I got your back. You tell me where we're going, let's go. But not leading you here.
Be like, don't be in the middle. Like 3/4. I'm getting 3/4.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I'll see you guys at the top of the league. Were you East Coast or West Coast?
East Coast, Bears Island, man.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. So, Josh, aspects of your service that really drove you to help you become a better entrepreneur, or at least drove you to get into that space?
Yeah, so I think it's kind of a longer process for me. What I always tell people is the Marine Corps was a great experience for me because I really, truly was that kid who just barely got out of high school. Not because I wasn't smart enough, just because I figured out, like, I can do this much and get C's, and I graduate with C's, so why would I do more than that? And so, like, I had a good time. I convinced my senior year, I convinced my guidance counselor to let me stack 2 study halls back to back so that I could walk down the street to the driving range and hit golf balls for 2 hours when I was supposed to be in study hall.
That's fantastic.
Like, so maybe that was entrepreneurship to begin with, some negotiating skills.
It's at least the right thinking. You know what I mean?
But when I got out of the Marine Corps, so I started undergrad at Tennessee while I was on terminal leave. And when I got out of the Marine Corps, I was like, oh, I know what manual labor is like, and I never want to do that again. So I'm going to put my head down and be the best damn student there is. And I always tell people that mentality actually really helped me transition. I didn't really have any struggles with my transition until I got to the workforce 5 years later, because I treated school like it was my new job. So I went to campus at 8 a.m., whether I had an 8 a.m. class or not, and studied and was there until 5 o'clock. I started working a part-time job after my second semester there, but still just school was my job and was my mission. And in my mind, I was kind of like, I need to do good at this because there are others coming behind me that I want to blaze this path for. And that was kind of my, even though I was a wallflower in boot camp, I was like, other people are going to transition, and I want the best damn idea in people's minds of what a Marine can be when he comes to school and then goes to work. And so I'm going to work my ass off and be really good at this. So graduated in the top 10% of my class for undergrad, whatever that summa magna, whatever it is, laude something.
Summa cum laude.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember one of the laudes. Yeah. So did that, got out of, and then got out of undergrad, went and got my graduate degree as well. And really, like I said, all that was just kind of this driving of, in the back of my mind, I knew, like, if I fail at school, I need to go re-enlist. I need to go back to the Marine Corps. And not that I didn't want to go to the Marine Corps, and there's definitely days that I wish I would have stayed reserves or stayed in, but it was just like, I need to go and excel at this now and show people that people can do 4 years and then give back to society in a positive way. So that was, kind of a really long answer to say, got through school, did well, got a lot of knowledge, which gave me a ton of opportunities. So I graduated in 2009 for undergrad, already had a job offer to go work in New York at EY, which they let me defer to go get my graduate degree. So while lots of people were struggling to find jobs, I had one lined up 2 years in advance. And so just work hard. And then that gave me the opportunities and put me in the right place at EY to start the Veteran Entrepreneur Academy. And that really, truly, that came out of, I was kind of struggling in the corporate world, because when I got there, I was like, so my life is just about making money now, right? Like, what's my mission here? And so I kind of started that as a side project at the firm, just to try to find kind of find my way, right? Like this was my extracurricular activity and my way to give back to other veterans. But it was more of a personal thing at that point, because it was, like I said, it was like, what do I do here? Is my value now tied to my bank account and my promotion levels? What is it I'm doing? You know?
Right.
And when I did that, it took me a while to convince the firm to start the Veteran Entrepreneur Academy, and then so spend a couple years networking and getting that going. And we were doing, you know, mergers, acquisitions, IPOs for these large Fortune 500 companies. But I could see the veterans that I were talking to that were starting their businesses, I could see where the problems were being created that I was fixing for these large companies, and knew that if they just had somebody who could help them out in those early days, who had been to where they wanted to go. So either a strategic buyer or an IPO or some sort of, you know, exit event to make them money and grow the company, that there was a lot of value in those early days. So that's what drove me to start the Tripoli Group. Was I knew these guys could never afford the rates that we were billing at EY, but they needed those sort of skill sets. And so that's where I'm at now. I work with companies that are between their seed and Series A rounds right now. So I always tell people I work with companies that are raising outside capital. Not to say that I wouldn't work with a butcher or baker, but really my skill set and my experience are reporting to investors, meeting with investors, getting those reports and dollars out, and how to run a business that is looking to IPO or do an M&A. So, you know, if you have a lifestyle business that's making millions of dollars and you need a fractional CFO, feel free to reach out and contact me. But just know that, like, that's where my skill set is in, you know, high growth startups that are trying to raise money.
Right.
And a lot of it is, you know, just kind of taking that burden off of the startup. So, you know they need to keep their accounting numbers in order. They know they need to figure out their cash burn rate, but they're trying to build products and find customers, you know, and just what is the last thing that gets done? Well, the accounting and the finance, right?
Right, the books.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but wait, hold on. Backtrack a little bit though, because you went down the sidetrack of fractional CFO and touched base a little bit on it, but that's a huge pain point, and I know that you're getting into the book specifically. Fractional CFOs, the duties and responsibilities in a very small snippet of a fractional CFO in a small business setting, and how that really helps out. Maybe you're going there.
Yeah, no. So, you know, a fractional CFO, and at the level of companies I'm working with, the seed to Series A, it kind of blends between controller and CFO. But one of the biggest things I do for my clients is we sit down, we look at their historical burn rates, we look at the plan that they're putting together for the beginning of the year, and I'm like, okay, this is the day you're going to run out of money. And sometimes they're like, no, that's not right. And I'm like, no, yeah, definitely, this is the day you run out of money, because you got to plan on for a startup in the startup world. You're really just planning for when are you raising your next round until you get to a certain point, right? And so that's kind of the biggest thing that the CFO does, is help you plan when that next round is going to be raised. And then also how to approach angels, venture capitalists, and what are the numbers that they're looking for, and what are the, you know, assumptions and things. And I think, you know, this probably doesn't help sell business, but a lot of entrepreneurs could do this. They just need someone to kind of walk them through well, how did you get to that number? Because a lot of entrepreneurs are like, I can sell 50,000 units of this in the next 6 months. I believe you. Where did that number come from? Because the VCs aren't going to just believe you. So that's kind of, yeah, that was a bad explanation, but it's more of like forecasting cash flows, looking at the operations of the company. There's some bleed over into HR. So, you know, did you get an I-9 for completed and verified for your employees? Did you get their taxes set up? Are you using a payroll system right now, and are you filing your taxes appropriately? And that's probably one of the things a lot of people don't realize. You have to file taxes even if you're not profitable. Even if you just lost a lot of money, you still have to file. So things like that. I just think of the things that, you know, you probably never would have thought of on your own from the kind of fractional CFO role. And it's, like I said, probably not the best of explanations, but so it's a little squishy.
A lot of starting off entrepreneurs, they always look at the C-suite when they get into the management team side of things, in the command and signal phase. They're looking at it and they're going, we got to come up with a chief executive and a chief financial guy. And, and it's like, okay, I hear you, whatever. Some of those can be fractional if you don't necessarily have, the numbers guy directly on the founding team. There are resources that are out there. I didn't even know fractional CFOs existed, when I first became an entrepreneur. I didn't know that was an asset to me.
Yeah, well, and yeah, it definitely, and obviously I'm biased here, but I'm a big believer that the CFO can be a fractional for much longer than the other. The CEO obviously has to be a full-time deal. If you're looking like a chief marketing officer, that's someone who needs to be attuned with the day-to-day plans for the product. A COO needs to be in the day-to-day operations, but a CFO, you can stretch your dollars a lot longer and hang on to some of your early equity by keeping a fractional CFO around. And obviously I'm biased, so take that for what it's worth. It's free advice. It's worth every penny, right?
Right, there you go.
Yeah, but it's but I think that's one of the last things that you could add if you're really thinking about what is it in the C-suite that could come in later, and that's just because of the nature of how it works, right? Like I don't need to know every day-to-day operation, and I try really hard. Several of my clients, I attend their product meetings, so I know what it is they're working on. So it makes me better at my job. But if there's any sort of conflict, that product meeting is going to be the first thing I jettison from my schedule, because I can still do my job without knowing all the features of the app. So that's why I say if you're thinking about how soon do I need to get a finance person in there, a permanent one, you can go a little longer, and it's not going to be looked at.
So there you go. Okay.
Yeah. But the other thing
I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're fine. I was kind of between thoughts anyway, so it was a good stop. Well, the other thing I was going to say, so what I do also is I brought on an employee, a bookkeeper, because that's one of the things that I found. Yes, I am bookie. So we'll take bets now on horses and things like. But what I found when I started networking in this space as a fractional CFO, there's a lot of fractional CFO firms that do not do bookkeeping. So they do one of two things: they either just send you to whoever, or they charge you fractional CFO rates, and they're really just doing bookkeeping for you. So that's where I've started kind of expanding. My first hire was a bookkeeper. Hopefully, my second hire is a bookkeeper. Second bookkeeper, someone I'm talking to tomorrow. Because I think it's one of those things, like I don't want to take advantage of these companies and charge them, these rates of a fractional CFO when really what they need at this point is a bookkeeper. So, and the other thing too, what I worry about and find, there's a lot of people out there in the world who learned how to use QuickBooks and now they're a bookkeeper.
Right.
It's like there's a lot more to it than that, and that upsets me almost more than the overcharging on the fractional CFO side. Because I get a lot of clients who are like, oh, we've had a bookkeeper for years. And I look at their books, I'm like, this is a garbage fire. Like, who did this, So that's the other thing, too. And why I started kind of doing that is I bring on my first bookkeeper that I hired has over 25 years experience as a bookkeeper. Like, she's going to do good. And if she has a question, then she has me who has, multiple degrees, and I'm a CPA in New York and North Carolina, and have the experience of raising money in high growth startups. So we're going to make sure that you're on the right path.
Right, I gotcha. See, I wanted to make sure that it was also hit on It doesn't necessarily need to be, hey, we're bringing all of those pieces to the table straight away. However, there is a time and place where it's like the bookkeeping, that needs to be a thought straight away in all of the planning models. However, the chief financial officer, you could hold out for a little bit. And that's kind of the biggest thing is, entrepreneurs get wrapped up, and this always happens to me also, is we get wrapped up in the commander's intent and desired end state and the vision and what we ultimately want it to look like. And it's like, okay, time out, back it up. I got you. We want a chief financial officer. That'll happen. Yeah, maybe you've got ideas of your buddies who could be your CFO or something like that. But, let's take this one step at a time. How can you do your bookkeeping? Do you have a CPA already? Maybe you can wrap that up in a fractional CFO service or what you're doing as an organization. So where can people find you again?
Yeah, so the website is tripoligroup.com, and I'm just Joshua at tripoligroup.com. And then you can follow us on Twitter at Tripoli Group. All right, guys, I appreciate it. It was fun.
Folks, if you haven't already done so, click subscribe, rate, review the podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Player FM. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors who are out there. VeteransList.us, Counter-Strike Coffee, First Data. We're going to bring on, oh God, there's more. There's more waiting in the wings and stuff's about to happen. And I'm wringing my hands in crazy maniacal debauchery over here. Wait, is it debauchery? I don't know. But we're scheming, people.
Something like that.
Something's happening. Josh Holley, thanks so much. Thanks so much for joining us on Cigars and Sea Stories, man. It's been great.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Take care. Be well. Semper Fidelis. Jocelyn, cue the music.